Welcome, everybody, to your new moon in Cancer Tarotscopes. For the new moon in Cancer that is on July 25th, 2025. We're going to talk all about it. I hope everybody's doing well. Kasmar's here. Kasmar, thanks so much for joining. Great to see you. I hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. So, everyone, welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. I'm Joshua the Psychic, and you can check out my website, psychicsun.com. if there's anything I can do for you. So for this Cancerian new moon, we're dealing with themes universally that have to do with home, family, emotional security, your roots, your foundation. And this is an opportunity to set things straight, to make sure that your foundation is secure, to make sure that you're feeling yummy on the inside, all tucked in, unconditionally loved, and really just emotionally secure. And the Cancerian energy really pertains to mother. So what you want to do is really tap into that divine mother. So we all have mothers, and it's important to recognize that in the process of individuation, we have to learn how we need to be mothered specifically. Like, no matter how amazing our mothers may have been, they may have missed the mark, because that process of individuation is all about you becoming your own parent. You need that divine energy, the divine mother, as well as the divine father. Cancer does have to do with the divine mother, so you really want to tap into that and see how you need to be nurtured in order to feel really secure. Because if you have that base, that really strong emotional foundation of unconditional love, you're going to be able to use that as a launching pad to achieve what it is that you want. Like, that foundation, as long as it's really secure, you're in really good stead. Hey, Boomher, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. So you have these themes globally for all of us. So look and see what you might do come the 25th and for those 2 weeks after, that's going to give you a stronger sense of emotional security, a better foundation, etc. So we got 4 main aspects that we're going to talk about in terms of this new moon. And one, it's extremely lucky. It's a very, very lucky new moon because it's conjunct Jupiter. And Jupiter fairly recently entered Cancer, where it's much happier than it had been in Gemini. Jupiter had been detrimented in Gemini, and now Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning its best aspects are brought to the forefront. So amplified emotional blessings you can expect this new moon, opportunities around home, family, and security. Jupiter's luck expands Cancer's nurturing energy, making this ideal for planting seeds of comfort. So it's very expansive. I would definitely think big. And I would also remember that Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So watch out for getting carried away. Sometimes if you're in a situation and something upsets you, you have an opportunity. You can really pull that thread and unravel, or you can keep things look at things from more of a higher vantage point and not get carried away. We also have, and this is the aspect we're going to talk about mostly tonight with your Tarotscopes, the new moon is making a sextile to Mars in Virgo. So a sextile is a harmonious aspect. It's supportive. So practical motivation supports your emotional dreams. That practical motivation is Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is going to provide organized step-by-step action to help you turn your intuitive visions into concrete reality. And Virgo is very much a planner. It's all about measuring twice and cutting once. So with Mars in Virgo, you're going to be able to really tap into the detail orientation and the processes and systems that you need to implement in order to make those new moon goals come true. Now, we also have Venus making a beautiful supportive sextile with the North Node. Venus is in Taurus, and it's making a trine to the South Node. because the South Node is in Pisces. So this is really, really good. You got this Venusian energy, supportive of flow. Love and resources align with your soul's path with this. And what you value and find beautiful can support your spiritual growth while honoring the practical skills you've already mastered. So by allowing yourself to be very, very practical, right, and really grounded with that Venus and Taurus, you're going to get an opportunity actually with this new moon to either go back and revisit something. It might be something from the past with that South Node, or something to the future with that North Node. So you're going to have your pick of the litter, so to speak, about where you want to put your energy, and that Venus is going to help you. Even if you decide to go back, maybe you go back to an old job, back to an old love, or maybe you go to a new job, go forward. Venus is going to help you with either. Anna Maria, wonderful to see you, Anna Maria. Thanks so much for joining tonight. Happy Thursday. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities. You can go backwards, you can go forwards, and you're going to be blessed. Now, the rubber meets the road, so to speak, because you have that new moon making a square to Saturn as well as Neptune, which are both in the sign of Aries. So with a square, there is usually some kind of conflict, a tug of war, and your dreams are going to meet reality with that Saturn square. Saturn is going to demand patience and realistic timelines, while Neptune inspire your dreams. It can make you very idealistic, which is wonderful. But remember that you got to make the plans real, right? With that Neptune, you're going to be able to get an idea of the ideal scenario, the most delicious scenario. But the more idealistic it is, realistically, the harder work you're going to have to put in, right? So you want to balance your lofty ideals with grounded, practical steps forward. And that's going to help you to really move forward and make the best of this lunation. So what you want to do for this new moon on the 25th, it's going to be at 4 degrees Cancer. So ideally what you'll do is you'll know where 4 degrees Cancer falls in your chart. We're going to ballpark it tonight. But because, we're using the whole house system, all astrologers on YouTube have to, you want to find out exactly where that 4 degrees is, right? Is it in your first house, is it in your 4th house, 5th house, etc.? So that's going to be your area of focus. If you don't know where 4 degrees of Cancer falls in your chart, well, you could do a free chart online. Maybe you remember from a reading I gave you. If I read you before, you could go to a trusted astrologer like myself, or you could just go on to like a free astrology site, astro.com. Just type into Google free astrology chart, put in your details, and you'll find out where that 4 degrees is. And that's going to be the house that shows which life area is going to be activated. And that's where you want to put your energy. I mean, you can make a new moon wish list for whatever you want, but it's more intelligent to really work with the energy that's being activated in your chart. And you'll get an idea of where that will be tonight as well. So once you find out where that 4 degrees of Cancer is in your chart, set powerful intentions. This is the start of summertime. It's a beautifully lucky new moon. You want to take advantage of it. So within 48 hours of that new moon, if you're in Los Angeles, that new moon will be at 3:30 a.m. If you're on the East Coast, say you're in New York or Philly or Boston, that's going to be at 6:30 a.m. Let me just make sure that's correct. Yep. No, 3:31 a.m. on the East Coast, and that would be 6:31 on the East Coast. So within those first 48 hours of your new moon, focus on Cancerian themes, right? What's going to make you feel more secure? What's going to make you feel more at home within the self? What's going to make you feel unconditionally loved and yummy on the inside? We want you to feel as if you are at peace, that inner peace, that sense of being unconditionally loved, whether or not you get the trophy. Getting the trophy is not a Cancerian thing. That's more of a Capricorn thing. That's more of a father archetype, right? With this Cancerian energy, you want to really tap into that energy of the divine mother and nurture yourself better than you ever have before. Because the more you nurture yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to achieve your goals. So be specific, but allow room for growth, right? You might say, for instance, I want a home in Beacon Hill, right? You don't want to say, I want a home at 106 Myrtle Street in Beacon Hill, because you don't know about Myrtle Street. You don't know what that home that you think that you want is all about. There could be rats. Oh my goodness. You could have shitty neighbors there, right? So you want to be specific to a certain extent. The general area. I want a man who's tall, dark, and handsome. Fine. You do not want to say, I want Charlton Heston. That would be terrible because I think that he's dead, right? So be specific, but leave room, right, with that growth, because the universe is going to know what's best for you. It's better for you to describe what it is that you want and let the universe fill in the spaces. You don't want to be too specific. I want this job or this home or this boyfriend, because you do not know what you are playing with. And if it's not for you, it's not going to happen anyway. So be general about it to a certain extent, while also having some specificity. You don't want to say, I want a new home. You want to at least give an idea to the universe about where you want that new home, boyfriend, job to be or to be like. And then you can write them down. A lot of people do wish lists. I would suggest doing a wish list up to 9 items of things that you want to invite into your life over the next 6 months. But I would lean toward those Cancerian themes of home, family, and emotional security. So really think about what's going to make you feel really at home. And then write them down, speak them aloud. You might want to write them down as affirmations and then read them to yourself over breakfast when your subconscious mind is more porous before life gets busy during the day. I would have it, instead of you could have your coffee and read your intentions, or instead of your crossword puzzle or in sync with your crossword puzzle, read your intentions. So you want to utilize Mars in Virgo. That's going to be our saving grace, right? Because like I said, we got these squares with Saturn and Neptune. That's going to make it tough for there to be easy wins, right? You're going to have to put in the work with Saturn squaring this new moon. But Mars in Virgo is going to really help you. So break your big dreams into small, actionable steps, right? Bit by bit. And create organized plans and systems. Virgos are really, really good at looking at the overall view and then zoning in. Okay, what do we have to do day in and day out in order to make this a reality? And then focus on practical daily actions. Everything that you can do on a regular basis that's going to lead you closer to your ideals. And stay balanced. So Cancer energy is highly emotional. It's very reactive. So you want to make sure that you're not losing the plot. Like, watch out for wild mood swings. Try not to be affected by other people if they go off the handle, because it's highly emotional. And with Jupiter there, Jupiter expands anything it touches. It makes anything it touches bigger. And Cancer is the most emotional, sensitive sign of the zodiac. So stay balanced. In terms of your goals, dream big. Sure, you got Jupiter blessing you, but stay realistic in the sense that you can achieve whatever it is that you want. I would say one thing that you want to remember is that a lot of it has to do with your beliefs. So you don't want to make it this big, big thing. You want to ideally in your brain miniaturize whatever it is that you want, because it's going to be hard for you to achieve something that you think is out of reach, right? So you want to minimize it in your brain a little bit, but also realize that even if it's smaller and you're a lot bigger than your goal, you're still going to have to do the work, right? So really utilize that Mars and Virgo energy to determine what you have to do day in and day out, what systems and processes do you need to implement in order to make progress every single day? And take consistent small steps rather than rushing. Rushing is probably a fool's errand under this lunation. And trust your process. Jupiter's going to be in Cancer until 2026, so there's really no rush. And honestly, if you fall in love with your process, the results are going to take care of themselves, right? Because you're not going to be looking at the clock. You're going to fall in love with your process. And that's really key for so many things. So let's start with Aries. In terms of how this full moon is going to affect you. Let's see if I can fix this. Be better for you. So for Aries, you got the new moon in the fourth house. Fourth house is the house that is actually ruled by Cancer. It's all about emotional security, your family, your foundation, your private life. And new moon in the fourth, there's going to be fresh starts for you around home, family, emotional security. It's the perfect time to create a nurturing foundation for yourself. Maybe you want to get a new home. Maybe you want to make things more comfortable in your home. Maybe you want to mend fences with family members. Maybe you want to connect with your family more. Maybe you want to go to bed. I was going to say Bed Bath & Beyond, but I think that they closed. Maybe you want to go to Target and get really, really nice, beautiful sheets and pillows and whatever to make your home more comfortable. So it's the perfect time to create a nurturing foundation, to heal family bonds, or establish deeper roots in your living space. What's going to make you feel rooted and secure? Now, Mars is in Virgo and it's hitting your sixth house. So the sixth house has to do with your health, your day-to-day routines, your work, and your wellness. It's your lifestyle, essentially. What you do day in and day out. Those habits that make a big difference, right? So practical energy with Mars and Virgo is going to flow into your daily routines and health. You can organize your domestic life. You can create better habits, especially those habits that make you feel familiar and secure, i.e. that piece of toast that you always have at 6:07 a.m., whatever that might be. And channeling your motivation into detailed planning for home improvements or emotional improvements. Instead of doing anything with your home, it could be metaphorical, Aries, right? And it could be a matter of, I'm going to make sure I nurture myself more every single day. So the card we pulled you is the Wheel of Fortune. This means, Aries, that something is going to be coming around again. The Wheel of Fortune is about karma. So maybe you're going to get an opportunity to make things right. Maybe an old lesson is going to reappear. Maybe there's an opportunity for a new home, or maybe there's an opportunity for something or someone to come into your life to make you feel more emotionally secure. But with the Wheel of Fortune, you're playing with opportunity, you're playing with luck, and you're playing with cycles. It's going to be up to you. Do you want to repeat an old cycle, or do you want to go to a new cycle? Do you want to repeat the old timeline and the old story, or do you want a new beginning, a new storyline for you? Because that Wheel of Fortune is going to come up. Expect there to be tests, right? And I would say for all of us, stuff from the past is going to come up because Cancer is very tied to the past. It's very nostalgic. All the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, they have a tendency to look more backward to the past. Air signs float around, past, present, and future. Fire signs are very focused on the future, and earth signs are usually in the here and now. So keep that in mind, and happy new moon, Aries. So for you, Taurus, this new moon will be hitting your third house. Third house has to do with a lot of things. It's about your communications, your mindset, pertains to socializing, your siblings, your short distance trips, your neighbors, your neighborhood. And there's a new beginning in all these areas. New beginning for you in terms of communication, learning, and your local connections. So this is going to be a great new moon for you to start educational projects to improve your relationship with your siblings, also cousins, family members, aunts, uncles, stuff like that. And enhancing your daily environment. How can you make it easier for you on a day-to-day basis? Now, Mars is in your fifth house. Mars is in Virgo in your fifth house. And the fifth house has to do with things that you really, really love, things that light you up with joy. It's your creativity. It's your creations, including your children, if you have any. It also is the house of true love, which is kind of funny because it's not a partnership house, meaning fall with somebody, but they might make a lousy partner. If you want them, the person that you fall in love with, to be a good partner, then you got to go to the 6th house and make sure that your lifestyle is compatible with theirs, right? So it's a very creative time. Creative energy gets organized and methodical for you, Taurus. Turn your inspired ideas into tangible results through structured artistic projects, detailed romantic planning. Maybe you'll be planning some really beautiful dates for you and your honey, or even in your brain if you don't have a honey yet. And then when you find your honey, you'll have a whole itinerary planned, or systematic self-expression. So you want to be very Virgo-y. We all got to be very Virgo-y this new moon. But for you, Taurus, it's going to be really, how can you be Virgo when it comes to your play and your fun? The card we pulled for you is 9 of Discs, one of the greatest cards in the pack. This is a woman of affluence and grace, and she's taking a luxurious stroll through the gardens of her estate. And she has a falcon on her hand, and the falcon is said to be able to hunt and kill on command. So this essentially talks about how you can enjoy the finer things in life, but you also can call upon your darker impulses if need be. So it's a matter of you can be independent and self-sufficient, but you also are not going to let people screw with you, right? So be independent, fall upon your own resources, and if you are doing this alone, that's okay. And I also would say with the 9 of Discs, settle for more. Don't settle for something that doesn't feel good. You want to really go for the best, right? Because you're all about value. And if you know what you bring to the table, you're not going to be afraid to eat alone. So keep that in mind and enjoy your life. The 9 of Discs, 9 of Pentacles, often has to do with, enjoying the finer things in life, which is great. The actual aspect associated with this card is Venus and Virgo. So enjoy your process, enjoy this new moon. So for you, Gemini, this new moon is hitting your 2nd house. The 2nd house has to do with your money, your self-worth, your possessions, your talents. It also has ties to the throat chakra, your self-expression to a certain extent, your spending habits. So there's a fresh start for you, Gemini, around finances, personal values, and your self-worth. There's time to build stronger material security. It's time to recognize your self-worth and your true value, and to establish more meaningful priorities. Value fulfillment is what happiness is. We're happy when our values are fulfilled. And this new moon for you, it might be important for you to really look at what you now value, what is more priority for you, what's going to make you happy, and to make sure that your actions and behaviors are aligned with those values. Now you got Mars and Virgo in your 4th. The 4th house has to do with your home, your family, your foundation, your private life. So with Mars in the 4th, you might be really going into home improvement, right? Unfortunately, with Mars in the 4th, there can be fighting with family members. But sometimes, that's just stuff that needs to get kicked up in order to get cleaned up, right? But there's a lot of energy that's flowing through your home sector. So you might want to create organized living space for yourself, get things really organized, establish domestic systems, or methodically improve your foundation. Who do you want to connect with on a regular basis? Who in your life is going to help you establish a stronger sense of emotional security? How can you care for family members? How might family members care for you? And it doesn't have to be your family of origin. It can be your family of choice. Now, the card we chose for you, or we picked for you, Gemini, is the Death card. So what this means is, and it's not a negative thing, actually. It's never a physical death. If anything, it's a birth. But it's the ending of one part of your life and the beginning of a new part of your life, right? I shouldn't say that the Death card is never having to do with physical death. It does at times, but it has to be really poorly defined. But generally, the Death card is usually about transformation, and it's about boundaries. What are you going to say no to so you can say yes to something else? That's going to be really key. How can you set your boundaries or dissolve your boundaries? Are you too retentive? Are you too guarded? Do you need to let more people in? Or have you been a doormat, letting yourself taken advantage of, right? So it's about boundaries for you with the Death card. And when you get the Death card, it's important for you to flow and to remain flexible because things are changing. But I also want to say that with the Death card, it's important to mourn the past in order to really reap the benefits of a new beginning. And whatever you're mourning with the Death card, it's a natural ending, usually. So happy new moon, Gemini. So Cancer, this is your new moon. It's in your sign. The first, what is this, Boom her? Leaving one thing behind to embrace something new. Exactly. Hey, Marlo, nice to see you. Happy Thursday. So for you, Cancer, this is your new moon, and it's in your first house. The first house has to do with your personality, and of course, your personality. Your personality creates your personal reality. So if you want a new personal reality, well, just going to change your personality. It's about your identity, your self-construct, your self-image. The first impressions that you make. Hi, nice to meet you. This could have to do with how you're presenting, how you wear your hair, the colors that you wear, your comportment, how you carry yourself, right? That first impression you make. So you may want to make some adjustments to your appearance. So your outer reality, how you look, jibes better with how you feel more authentically, right? Because sometimes we go through changes and we're just not the same person, and we need to make changes externally in order to show that. But the first house is all about new beginnings. It's about your vitality. It's about your body. So you get to do whatever you want this new moon. It's about personal reinvention for you, Cancer. A new identity should emerge. It's a perfect time for fresh self-expression. Maybe you'll express yourself in a new way. Renewed confidence and stepping into your most authentic emotional nature. Finding out who you are emotionally is really what this is going to be about. Because when you understand who you are emotionally and what your emotional needs are, well, then you can achieve them, right? Then you can manifest them. But if you're not aware of what you need emotionally, how are you ever going to be fulfilled? Now, Mars in Virgo is in your third house. The third house has to do with your intellect, your mindset, your communications with other people. It has to do with short trips, local travel. Third house is a lot. It has to do with your neighbors, your neighborhood, your siblings, your cousins. So it's a lot about communications. It harkens back to, when we were in grade school and we're learning language and we're learning, I get to go to the ice cream store. I get to go to class. I get to do this or I get to do that. So it's about your communications. And with Mars in this area of your chart, your communications are going to become much more clearer and more organized. So articulate your needs effectively, create structured learning plans. It's a great time for you to start studying something new. Maybe you'll take a class. Or really, it could be about, starting a new writing project. I would say that could be great if you're a writer, or any form of communicator. Anything that you do with your hands is a third house thing. And as you imagine, well, that's a lot of things because we do everything with our hands, right? Now, the card that we pulled for you is Seven of Cups, which makes perfect sense because Jupiter is making everything really, really big. And the Seven of Cups means that you're going to have a lot of options, Cancer. Some of them are going to be shit. They're not going to be good. And some of them might be really, really amazing. And others, you don't know. Time will tell. So you want to allow yourself to realize that you're in a very advantageous position. And with the Seven of Cups, the message is the wind is still in your face. Don't feel like you got to make any momentous decisions. You're going to probably, with Jupiter being conjunct this new moon, be feeling a lot. And you're probably going to have a lot of opportunities. So don't say yes straight away unless you absolutely know. For instance, if you're looking for a home, I think this is great. I mean, unless bells go off and you get some really strong signs, I would look around, right? Keep your options open. Same thing in terms of love. You might meet somebody and they're amazing. But don't settle, because you're going to have your pick of the litter in many different areas, even job, right? If you're looking for work. So allow yourself to look at all your options. Don't feel like you got to make any decisions, because I'll tell you, with Jupiter there, you are very, very lucky. So if you are not over the moon, no pun intended, your sign is ruled by the moon. If you're not over the moon, don't do it. If it's not a hell yeah, it's a no, because you want to wait. Now, Mars is in your third house. Third house has to do with a lot of things. It's your communications, it's your short trips, it's your neighbors, it's your siblings. So communication is going to become a lot more clear for you. It's going to be important for you to articulate your needs more effectively and create more learning for yourself, right? You might want to learn something new. The third house is all about your mindset. So you want to make sure you're in a good state of mind. And yeah, keep your options open. And Leo. So Leo, you have this new moon in Cancer hitting your 12th house. And that is all about your subconscious, your karma, your spirituality. You got to get ready for your new moon in your sign, which will be on the 24th of July. So that new moon in the 12th house, it's all about your subconscious. You might want to get some extra sleep, some extra rest. You'll probably do best in like behind the scenes activities, right? That's going to be helpful for you. And retreat. It's where you sacrifice and like let go. So allow yourself to take a beat, get some extra rest, because you're going to probably get more done behind the scenes than you will front and center. It's a spiritual house, the 12th house. So it also might be about recognizing your karma and realizing that you're the common denominator in these situations. And if you want a new story, well, this is an opportunity for you to have that new story. So with the new moon in the 12th, Leo, there's deep healing and spiritual renewal. It's time for releasing old patterns, connecting with your inner wisdom, starting behind the scenes personal transformation work. You might be going to therapy and not telling anybody about it, or working on self-improvement programs secretly. That's going to be really advantageous for you. Now, Mars is in Virgo in your second house of money, possessions. It has to do with your self-worth and your talents, your natural skills and abilities. So your values and your resources are going to get practical and organized. That's really great. Invest systematically in your personal development. Organize your spiritual practices, or methodically build your inner foundation. You want to really allow yourself to be somewhat aggressive when it comes to recognizing your self-worth and showcasing your talents. And really, I would say with Mars in the second, making more money. You're looking to make more money. Mars in the second is going to help you to do that. Mars in the second, though, it can also burn a hole in your pocket. So you got to watch out for that as well. But I would say that this is a great opportunity for you to combine your 12th house with your second house. Maybe you visualize 12th house making more money, and then you take inspired action. Now, the card that was pulled for you, Leo, is Knight of Wands. And this card is a little immature. The Knight of Wands can be rather immature. But what he does is he goes for broke. And I always look at the Knight of Wands as that character, that archetypic character who's in love with the girl, and she's getting married to this other guy, and he rushes into the church when the priest says, if anybody has any objections to these two getting married, speak now or forever hold your peace. And that guy, this Knight of Wands guy, goes and says, I love her and she loves me. And in that moment, he either is going to get the girl or he's not going to get the girl, right? And that's sort of what you got to do, Leo, with the Knight of Wands. You got to go for it. You got to just Make it happen. And if it doesn't, well, at least you gave it your shot, right? At least you tried. I also would say with the Knight of Wands, this is about distancing yourself from the familiar or going in for it, really going deep, rushing into that church, metaphorically. So I'd say, because it's a new moon in the 12th house, it's a matter of really looking at where you might want to go all in, where you do want to be bold, and then fire your shot later on. You might be able to do it during the cycle, but I would say with the 12th house transit, it's probably going to be more advantageous for you to take a beat and dance below the ceiling for the time being, but think about where you're going to go all in or where you're going to go all out. The Knight of Wands could be about planning an exit strategy, right? Because the Knight of Wands, one of the meanings is moves that are very fast. So you might want to even move, right? So think about what's going to make you feel more emotionally secure and come up with a plan to be like lightning and make it happen. And happy new moon. So for you, Virgo, the new moon is in your 11th house. 11th house is very easy house in a lot of respects. It's your hopes, it's your dreams, it's your wishes, your ideals, it's your like-minded people that you have around you, it's your friends, your community, friends. And with the new moon in the 11th, you have fresh energy in these areas. So you could have fresh community connections. You could be manifesting your dreams or coming up with a new dream. This is what I want. I want to do this. It's the perfect time for connecting with like-minded people, building supportive networks, or setting up meaningful goals, especially social goals. Now, Mars is in your sign, which is going to make you very fiery, but I got to say, Mars in your sign is so nice. You get so much more done. You just have like this Superman extra energy. And, you're so focused, Virgo, that I think you're going to really like this. So the first house has to do with you and your body. So you're going to be feeling probably a lot stronger. You're probably going to be a lot more assertive. The first house has to do with your personality, the first impression that you make. You'll probably leave a very strong first impression. And also, it has to do with the package that you present to the world. So you might decide that you want to put this Mars energy to creating a new look, right? And really doing more things that are independent in nature. So personal power and motivation reach peak efficiency for you, Virgo, with Mars in your sign. Your natural attention to detail will become a superpower for organizing your life and achieving your aspirations methodically. So think about who you want to be. If you don't know who you want to be, well, determine what it is that you want and find somebody else who has it and determine, what parts of their personalities you might imbue. The card we chose for you is the Emperor, which makes a lot of sense with Mars and Virgo in your sign. So you got to be assertive. You got to be assertive. You got to keep things on track. And I would say, organize yourself, create rules for yourself. You got to be that Emperor character. You got to give yourself rules. And with Mars in the first house, it's all about self-assertion. So start asserting yourself more with ease. No is a complete sentence. So think about what your values are, where you need to create boundaries in order to protect your values. And don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say no, because no can really help you, especially with all that Jupiter energy, because that is a lot of water. And, it might be flowing your way. In some ways, it might be too much. So keep your boundaries intact. And happy new moon. So for you, Libra, you got your new moon in the 10th house. The 10th house has to do with your status, your reputation, your honors. It's your professional life, your career, awards, recognition. It's the house of how the world sees you. So it's very professional. And a new moon here, you might decide that you want to go after a new career. Or maybe your career is just going to get some fresh new energy. Maybe you're going to go to that next level, or maybe you're going to maintain what you've already achieved. But ideally, it would be a time for new job opportunities, public recognition, establishing yourself as an authority in your field. I would say if there's anything that you do that, if there's any awards, like maybe you're an artist, submit to awards. 10th house Jupiter in this lunation is really, really amazing and really, really lucky. So you might want to, if you're an artist, apply for scholarships, grants, prizes, contests that are based on like your work, not like the lottery. Now you got Mars in the 12th house. So a lot of the work that you might be doing might be behind the scenes, because the 12th house has to do with those behind the scenes activities that you do. 12th house is about your spirituality. It's your subconscious. We get what we subconsciously believe that we deserve. That's why visualization is so important. It has to do with sacrifices, those that you make. And that really is key to manifestation. If you want things to happen for you quickly, sacrifice. It's like, especially, I feel like in terms of work, I've seen this. You take the first job that comes, even if you don't really like it that much, and work begets work. Then you get the next job. Or you do something that you really don't want to do. And the universe says, oh, wow, she ain't playing. She really wants this. So make sacrifices out of your comfort zone with Mars there. Behind the scenes preparation for you, Libra, is going to become crucial. So organize your approach to success through private planning, systematic skill development, and methodical foundation building. You might be taking a class secretly to go to that next rung on the ladder professionally. Or really what you might be doing, Libra, is work behind the scenes that nobody sees. So you're working hard. So when you are in public, 10th house, you're presenting. But in the 12th house, you might get a lot of your work done secretly. Now, the card we chose for you is the Emperor, which makes a lot of sense. It's the 10th house with the Emperor. It's all about being an authority and allowing yourself to realize that you rule by serving and you serve by ruling. Like, think of the archetype of the father. If a father is the child's friend and doesn't tell him no, well, he's doing him a disservice. The kid doesn't need a friend. He needs a dad. And just like with you, your coworkers don't need a friend. They need a boss. So find out where you might need to be more assertive, where you need to set boundaries. I also would say, Libra, because people are going to be very emotional, you got to be logical and rational. Not your monkeys, not your circus. Allow yourself to set boundaries and don't be taken in, and don't allow yourself to be manipulated emotionally. And don't be afraid to be the boss. So Scorpio, this new moon will be hitting your 9th house. The 9th house has to do with your higher mind, travel, leaps of faith, like entrepreneurship. You might decide to go out on a limb. It has to do with your philosophy, your belief systems. You might decide to go back to school. It also has to do with publishing and broadcast. So higher learning and expansion takes center stage. It's perfect for educational pursuits, travel, planning. You could plan a nice foreign trip or a trip far away. Spiritual growth or broadening your philosophical horizon, seeing things from a big picture, and really determining, like, the world is your oyster. What do you want? What do you want in this world? You want to learn more? Do you want to see more? Do you want to do more? Now, Mars in your 11th house. 11th house has to do with your friends, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, your ideals, like-minded people, and your community. So your networking is going to get practical and more purposeful. As they say, your network determines your net worth. So you may want to really connect with the right people strategically. Like, think about the groups that you're involved in and look at that, like, square in the face. Are these people going to help you reach your goals? Because if they're not, it might not be worth your time, right? So build communities that support your growth. Organize learning networks. You might decide to take a class. I mean, that's a perfect expression of the 9th and the 11th jibing together well. Or systematically connect with like-minded groups, right? Now, the card we chose for you, Scorpio, is 10 of Cups, and this is like the happily ever after card. It's a completion. It's a fulfillment. It's a 10. You're completing an emotional cycle. So the question for you is, what is your happily ever after? Is this a time in which, okay, well, this is no longer my happily ever after, and it's a 10. So you're like, okay, well, I'm closing this emotional cycle. I'm no longer going to be dealing with these people or these things or these old emotions. I'm sick of feeling a certain way. Or it could be a matter of you determining, like, this is what's going to make me happy. This is going to be my happily ever after. And there could be some really great stuff here. I mean, that 9th house is so beautiful, and 10 of Cups. It's about fulfillment. What's going to make you feel really, really satisfied? Because that is likely to happen for you, Scorpio. It's just a matter of determining what needs to go, right? Because that 10, it's an ending. At the same time, it's a new beginning. Because I think of 10, right? It's a fulfillment of energy. It's an apex. And the cross sum of 10, though, is 1. So it's also a new beginning. So enjoy that. So Sagittarius, this new moon is a little challenging. It's going to be an 8th house transit for you. Oh, you're going away next weekend? Oh, we'll have a lot of fun, Casmar. So for you, Sag, it's an 8th house transit. So something is most likely going to go bye-bye. 8th house transit, even if it's a good thing, maybe it's a job that you hate, maybe it's some jerk you've been wanting to divorce, but something is going to end. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. It could be a matter of, you're moving from a hovel to a mansion, or you're moving from a crappy job to an awesome job, right? But still, there's some kind of letting go. The 8th house has to do with death, rebirth, intimacy, boundaries, the boundaries that you set, those that you dissolve. Essentially, it's about transformation. And it also pertains to your joint enterprises, those things that you do with other people, and other people's resources, like what you get from other people. So with a new moon here, intimacy and shared resources will transform. It's a time for you to deepen your emotional bonds, to manage joint finances wisely, or for starting meaningful personal transformation work. The 8th house is deeply psychological. So it's good time for you to understand what makes you tick. Oh, I get it now. I do that because of this. And when you understand your psychology, it's great for Sagittarius to understand that, because they're smart and they love understanding, nuances and how things work, right? And if you understand your inner workings, well, you're going to be able to prevent yourself from self-sabotage, essentially. Now, Mars is in your 10th. So even though you're going through this emotional time with that new moon in the 8th, the 10th house is really a very public house, right? It's about your status. It's your reputation. It's your honors. It's what you're known for. It's what you do with your time, essentially. It's all about achievement. So with Mars in the 10th, you might be going after that trophy, Sagittarius, while at the same time having to really let go with that new moon in the 8th. So your career is likely to get more organized, a lot of professional focus. So channel your energy into structured collabs, detailed financial partnerships. Maybe if you're in a partnership with somebody, like say you have your own business or whatever, then what you might want to do is get a contract in place, right? And methodical reputation building, which I know sounds terrible. It doesn't sound very fun, does it? Methodical reputation building, but it's a great way for you to really look at your life and be sort of like, okay, well, if I want to get to this next level professionally, I have to do this. Now, the card we chose for you is Queen of Swords. So keep your wits about you. And you got to remember that with this energy, it's Cancerian energy. It's with Jupiter. It's going to be highly emotional. So remember, with Queen of Swords, you got to be the adult in the room. So keep that in mind. Queen of Swords is all about using your noodle, using your intelligence, being detached, keeping cool. Because other people are probably going to be flying off the handle. And with the new moon in the 8th house, you're going to be very touchy. You're going to be uncharacteristically touchy, Sagittarius. So stay cool, stay calm. And be intelligent. Be intelligent. Be cool, because people are probably going to be acting a little emotional. And you want to make sure that you're rising above it. And have a very happy new moon, Sagittarius. Capricorn, your new moon will be in your 7th house. And the 7th house has to do with your partnerships, your long-term partnerships. So that could be your best friend forever. That could be your spouse, obviously. That could be your consultants. It could be your business partner. Also your audience, if you have an audience. It's the other in your life, right? 7th house also has to do with contracts. So new beginnings here. Partnerships in your relationships will renew. It's the perfect time for attracting harmonious connections, improving your existing relationships, or establishing balanced collaborative ventures. Maybe you're going to combine with somebody else and work on a project together, or maybe you're going to find true love. Maybe you're going to renew your vows and get more close to your honey. And you got Mars in the 9th house. And the 9th house has to do with travel, has to do with higher education, has to do with leaps of faith and philosophy. So Mars is energizing this area of your chart. You might be planning a trip. You might decide, oh, geez, I really got to expand my mind. Maybe I'm going to do a deep dive into this subject. Or maybe I'm going to go to class. I'm going to go back to school. Or maybe I'm going to start a business, right? The 9th house also has to do with entrepreneurship. It also pertains to publishing and broadcast. So if you have any projects like that, this is a good time for you to get them out in the world. Learning and growth become systematically organized with Mars and Virgo in your 9th. So create structured relationship skills. Develop detailed partnership goals. Maybe you'll do something like a marriage encounter or something along those lines with your honey, or talking with them, doing anything involving healing on a very intellectual level. Or methodically expand your relationship wisdom. Maybe you're going to be sharing what you've learned about relationships with other people or even your friends. The 9th house is very, well, it likes to pontificate. It likes to share and expand and grow. And you want to allow yourself to really recognize your wisdom. And what good is knowledge unless it's shared, right? Now, the card we pulled for you, Capricorn, is 2 of Cups. This is about love. And love takes its many forms. You might work with somebody that you absolutely love. You might really love your dentist. You might really fall in love during this period. I mean, it is a 7th house new moon transit. You might find that you refresh a relationship with somebody that's come back into your life, which is not surprising, the Cancerian energy, which harkens to the past. But 2 Cups is I share my truth with you. The 2 Cups come together, and that's what you're doing. You're sharing your truth. And healing takes place. So look at your partnerships as a mode of healing to help you become more emotionally centered and in tune, because there's some things that we can only learn via reflection. And with 2 Cups, love is on the horizon, which is great, especially with that new moon in the 7th. So if you're looking for big love, this is your new moon for it. So Aquarius, this new moon will be hitting your 6th house. 6th house has to do with your work, your routines, your day-to-day processes, your health, your wellness. It's how your life runs like ideally a well-oiled machine. So of course your health is your wealth, right? Without your health, you get nothing. So this could be a good opportunity for you to get your health and to get in better shape. It's a great time for you to organize your life better. For the new moon in the 6th, your daily routines and your health habits will transform. It's time for establishing balanced work-life rhythms, improving your wellness practices, or creating supportive daily structures. So what can you do day in and day out that is going to help you to feel as perfect as possible? Because we're never going to be perfect, right? We're never going to look perfect, but we can feel perfect. And that is an easier thing to aim for, right? How can you feel as perfect as possible? What do you need to eat? How do you need to move? How much sleep do you need? What do you need to avoid? Who do you need to avoid? There might be some people that are simply not worth it, right? Now you got Mars and Virgo in your 8th house. So you might be really not suffering fools gladly. With Mars and Virgo in your 8th, if something is causing you grief or trouble, you're probably going to kill it off. You're probably going to cut it out of your life. And with Pluto in your sign, you're just very, very, very quick to end things or really bring things down to their like bare essence. And if something is not resonating with you between Pluto in your sign and Mars and Virgo in your 8th, yeah, you're probably going to be cutting things out that do not work for you. And I think that's great. The 8th house has to do with your joint resources, those things you do with other people. It's about transformation, sex, death, and taxes. So make sure that if you have anything there that you want to improve, utilize that Mars and Virgo. And it's also about your in-depth psychology, how you tick. I mean, Mars in the 8th is a great time to understand how you work psychologically. So your transformation with Mars in the 8th gets practical and organized. Systematically approach personal change, organize your shared responsibilities, and methodically improve joint ventures and resources. So if you're in business with other people, can you organize things? Can you be an organizer? Can you get really clear on what your role is, the other person's role is? But how can you transform in a very, very practical way, right? I think especially with that Saturn square, like get the vision in your mind, determine what you need to do daily, and just be very strategic about it. The card pulled for you was Ace of Pentacles. This is nice. This could be like stability and security that's guaranteed for a whole year, at least, right? But there's a practical opportunity ahead of you, an opportunity for you to build trust. This could be a new job. This could be actually a windfall. It also could be a new beginning in terms of a relationship that's built on trust. Very positive card. But think of it. You could look at it as a ring, right? The Ace of Pentacles is a ring in a lot of ways. It could be, right? So what do you need to commit to? How can you make your plans real, right? Because that Ace of Diamonds is a really good card. It's oftentimes a favorite card for very earthy sorts, that Ace of Diamonds. So make your plans real. Start from the very beginning and be consistent. And happy new moon. And last but never least, Pisces, my fishies. So the new moon for you, Pisces, is in your 5th house. That's your house of true love, things that light you up with a lot of joy, pleasure, affection, satisfaction. Your creations, including your kids, if you have any. It's a very romantic energy, that 5th house. It's your teenager house, right? Falling in love and having fun, but not feeling like you also have to. And the 5th house is like playful stuff. It's like you get to go to the movies, you get to have sex, and you get to go on Ferris wheels and stuff, but you don't have to take out the trash. You don't have to write out bills. You don't have to worry about who's picking up your daughter from ballet, right? You don't have to do that. 5th house is when it comes to that fun stuff. So creativity and romance flourish anew, Pisces. This is going to be a great time for you to really have fun, to get in touch with your inner child. It's the perfect time for artistic pursuits, romantic connections, and rediscovering your joy and expressing your authentic creative nature. So how can you really be more you? Meanwhile, we got Mars and Virgo in your 7th house, so your partners might be a little fired up. Your partners might be a little bit fired up. So with Mars in your 7th, don't take it personally. The 7th house is firing up Mars is firing up your 7th house, which has to do with your marriage. It can make your marriage more passionate. Definitely have something passionate going on in your relationships. Otherwise, you might be fighting. But the 7th house also has to do with all your partnerships, right? Contracts, your audience, the other in your life. So partnerships support creative expression. You're going to be able to express yourself more in your partnerships with this and have more fun. Might want to utilize this energy to organize artistic projects, plan romantic details systematically. Maybe you'll be planning an outing or date nights or a vacation for you and your honey. Or you might decide that you want to utilize this energy to build relationships that nurture your creative and your emotional needs. I'd say if you're looking for love, this is a really good transit for you, Pisces, because you could find somebody that not only are you truly in love with, but somebody who actually might be a good partner. And as we said, there's a differentiation between somebody that you might fall in love with and somebody who actually makes a good spouse. But with this transit, you could find somebody who's good for both. Now, the card we pulled for you, Pisces, is Nine of Wands. So you have been going through it. You've been going through it. You're a little battle scarred. You've gone through the ringer. People have tested you. But you know what? No matter what you went through, you are still a formidable opponent. Meaning if somebody screws with you, well, God help them, because you're still very, very strong and you're not to be played with. So you're about ready to complete this cycle in your life, Pisces, and it's really a wonderful time. And the question is, I understand you being a little defensive, but you got to watch out for unnecessary defensiveness. Excuse me. Too much coffee. So see these wands that are behind this guy? They're like upright. They're not doing anything. So this could be an attack that never comes. So balance it. You might be a little bit weary with all the stuff that's been going on astrologically, especially Gemini season, which squared your sun. So you're still strong and you got plenty of power, but this might be a time for you to take down your guard and allow yourself to relax a little bit. But you also are completing a beautiful cycle. So get prepared for that. Get prepared for that new beginning and look and see where you might be unnecessarily defensive. And we did it, folks. We went through every single sign of the zodiac for your new moon. I hope this was fun for everybody tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful new moon in Cancer. Remember, it's June 25th, and you can check out all my free resources, including written horoscopes for this lunation, which are in the description below, as well as lots of other great resources that are free for you. You can also check out my website, psychicsun.com, if you would like, or anything else I provide. So enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Thanks for joining everybody in the chat, and I shall see you soon. If you're catching this live, I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for This Week Astrology. Bye, everybody.